Hello everybody and a happy new year. My name is James. Welcome to the double Game Week 21 deadline stream, and it's live over the next 55 minutes or so. I'm going to take as many of your questions as possible ahead of the 11 a.m. UK Game Week 21 deadline. Let me take you through the graphics very briefly before I get into the questions. You will see to the left hand side of the screen the full 11 fixtures that are now taking place in Game Week 21. There are blanks for Newcastle, doubles for Brentford, Everton and West Ham. You will see below me the benching dilemma screen. There's 5 pages worth of players there. If you've got a benching headache, the player with a tick is the recommended player, and they run in order from pages 1 to 4, and then there's goalkeepers on page 5. Below that you will see the fixture ticker. That's upcoming games for all 20 teams. To the right you will see my team as it stands right now. The intention for myself is to take a -4 to remove Reece James and Armando Broja for Issa Diop and Dominic Calvert-Lewin. And below that you will see my top captaincy picks for the game week. I am giving slight favouritism to Jared Bowen over Mikel Antonio. Anyone who's got the Salah FOMO, you can still captain Mo Salah. It's absolutely fine. I will be making my transfers around about probably 10:40, I'd say. I'll probably lock in the 2 transfers. For my patrons who are in the chat, my DMs are open. If there is any news that needs to be shared, please don't share rumours and that kind of nonsense. But I do have my DMs open on screen. Anybody else send in with like questions or something? No, that's what this chat's for. Right, let's get into it. Good luck, everybody. Mohammed Cambersman, thank you very much for your DM this morning. Good morning and a happy new year. Good luck for 2022 and Game Week 21. Looking forward to the stream. Best wishes, and to you too, Mohammed. TJ Powell says, hey James, happy new year. Remember guys, the answer is on the screen. Delete repeat question. Remember it's just a game, and the golden rule, don't be a knob. Why do I feel like I'm going to get so many repeat questions on this stream? Lin Tian says, hey James, don't have Antonio. Should I move for him this week or don't do it and have the option of going for Kane Ronaldo in 22? Happy new year to you and hope the pod continues to grow in 2022. Generally speaking guys, my advice is going to be to everybody here, get Bowen and Antonio. It's nearly going to be quite a consistent theme, I think, in terms of get those players. It's the ownership's going to be big for these guys. Bowen's shooting up like a lot of the people at the top end of this game. Why is Suj Chet messaging me and going stream not live, by the way? I didn't know if you got it. Thanks, Serge. Cheers, mate. Happy New Year, you prick. Delaying me on my stream. Yeah, I was running a bit late. Shit happens. I've got a child, don't you know? Yeah, get Antonio. Get Antonio. Deal with the next problem next week. Remember, Antonio has a single game week against Leeds in Game Week 22. I mean, you don't have to have the doubler. It's a great fixture as well. Christian Pavor says, I'm not interested in what I'm doing in the cup, mate, but thanks, mate. Happy New Year to you. James98 says, Happy New Year. Thanks to yourself and Suj for the content last year. It's really appreciated. Very welcome, mate. Joe Gifford, hi, James. Often see people suggesting -12s here and laugh. I'm considering James to Dawson, Broja to DCL, Gundogan to Gray, and Foden to Son. Over the top of 4 good moves in isolation, especially unsure over the last 2. James needs binning, so yeah, I think West Ham's the best of it. If Dawson's your choice, that's fine. Broja to DCL, I'm doing. If you look at Minor, I'm not keen on the Gray move so much, actually. Where are he at with his fitness? We think he's available, but we're not 100% sure on that, I don't think, really. So I'm not so keen on the Gray move. Foden to Son is dodgy, right? So Luke Disable shared on Twitter yesterday, and he's a genuine friend of mine, and I know he's only sharing it because he's really confident that the information would be correct and that Phil Foden is not going to play for Manchester City today. His belief is that he's not travelled down. He has been informed that Phil Foden possibly has the virus, which would then make Son look worth the -4 as well. Tottenham are highly likely to double in 22, though not guaranteed. Manchester City have Chelsea at home. When you add that together and you're looking at 3 games of Son versus 1 of Foden versus Chelsea over the 2 game weeks, the -4 does look worth it. So I'm not keen on the Gray move, but you might need that to fund the other ones, which I understand as well. So Do you know what? I don't mind people taking big hits for double game week players. Will Bill says, bringing Antonio or Gray -4, considering Antonio may affect bringing back Salah in game week 24. Still Antonio for me, Will. Sam Holden says, as stands, will hold James next deadline 2 weeks after this, and early transfers are no. Price will plummet. Would you take extra hit to get rid now? Player in could be first sub or will start because of Foden. Yeah, take the hit, get it done. I wouldn't delay on it. He's out for 6 to 8 game weeks. And you're gonna watch his price die over the next 2 weeks or so, and you'll be thinking, I need to move. I'd get it done. Move him out for the -4. Particularly if it's a player for a double who's got 2 fixtures, in theory he should make it bout on appearance points. David Tyner says, Happy New Year, James. What do you think of Lanzini? He has pens and will surely be first choice with Ben Rama out. Does he play today? I think so, by the way. And I think he's interesting. But I couldn't make a case for him over Bowen. Like, Bowen is what? 0.67 more. So, I mean, if you're locked out or you want to add Lanzini to go with Bowen, I'm not keen on going to 3 West Ham attackers. I just think Bowen and Antonio covers it off nicely. That's my opinion. FPL Dougal says, Yo, Jimbo, Happy New Year. I'm currently on free hit and tripled up on Spurs, West Ham and Everton. If you could choose any goalkeeper from the other 17 clubs, who would you go for? Good question, like that. Very different. I would say Emi Martinez. Anytime Villa keep a clean sheet, you know he's capable of the haul, right? And I'm backing them for a narrow victory at Brentford. So I'm going to say Martinez, actually, if it's not price dependent, mate. Ragaf says, Morning, James. Happy New Year. Debating on should I get West Ham defence, Dawson Soufal versus Everton mid, Gray, Decore. Preference to West Ham defence, actually. Particularly if you're going cheap option. The reason, the reason my preference is for Diop rather than the other two. I looked at Soufal's attacking data in the 4 games since Zuma's been injured, and I think that's really what we should look at. I know it's kind of a small sample, but since Zuma and Ogbono have been injured, obviously Dawson and Ogbono have Dawson and Diop have played together. So I looked at the data for the 3 of them. Now there's nothing to write home about in terms of which one's most likely to get an attacking return. But Soufal's attacking data over the last 4, XG 0, XA 0, literally nothing in the last 4 games. Plus, small doubt that he keeps his place for both games, right? And Diop I've looked at and gone, he's the cheapest one. He looks a lock at the moment. He's a potential threat at set pieces, and actually in the immediate Palace aren't too clever at defending set pieces. I'm going to pop him in, and he's likely to be obviously kind of fifth defender, fifth defender, third sub going forward in future weeks. That's why the preference is with Diop. It's not I think he's a better option than Dawson. It's I'm not spending that money at the moment. And actually, just thinking right further ahead, I'd still have the money in the bank right now that takes me immediately from Bernardo Silva to Salah. Now, I'm likely to make other moves in between, but it means I'm not in a place where I'm going to struggle for Mo Salah afterwards. Whereas actually with Dawson, I couldn't make that move. And thinking ahead, it's just something I'm a little conscious of as well. So that's why Diop's got the preference for me. I would probably prefer Dawson over Soufal, actually, Ragaf, personally. And I'd definitely rather go that way than the Everton defenders. But I've got kind of a strict strategy in terms of I'm looking to bench the West Ham defender I'm getting in future game weeks. You may not want to do that if you're spending sort of 4.7, 4.9. I mean, you can bench Soufal and you can bench Dawson. 4.9, it might be a player that becomes quite difficult to get rid of, I think. Will Build 20003 says, Hi James, hope you're well. Due to the Foden rumour of him having COVID, I've been wary of my bench order. How is this? Cucurella, King, Saka. I stick King at the top of that, mate. I don't understand anybody who would leave out their Watford forwards today. Honestly, they're shit defensive, but they're good going forward. Never crossed my mind not to start Josh King. Admittedly, with the team I've got, it's a little bit easier to make that decision, but not crossed my mind to leave Josh King out. No. Miena Sidam says, Happy New Year, James. What do you think of Pickford as a backup for Ramsdale for a hit? Also, would you sell Livramento for a West Ham defender for a hit if it meant benching Breuer Dennis? Again, wouldn't want to be benching Dennis. I've decided Breuer's easier to sell than bench, considering the Brentford game is obviously in sort of 10 days or so. Pickford for a hit. You got no keeper. I mean, the ceiling on it would suggest he'll probably score more than 4 points, even with no clean sheets, you would think. So I'm going to say yes, but I'm not keen on you having that kind of value of 10 million tied up in the 2 goalkeepers going forward. That's the only thing, so just consider that. More of the Explorer says, hi James, I own Antonio, Bowen and Gray. You're in a nice position. Need to get rid of Reece James, but don't fancy West Ham defenders. My gut says Breuer to Kane or roll a transfer for big game week 22. Do you see an obvious choice? Mine, I mean, it's difficult when I'm not looking at your team, so you might be in a stronger position than me. I was looking at it going, I've got Dalot, he's a doubt, James injured. Do I want Tierney against Man City? Not really. So it's easier for me to, subject to what your bench is. I don't hate the idea of rolling the transfer. Could put you in a strong position. But generally, I think that if you can get a double game week player for a free transfer, I'd get it in. Matthew Hall says, please, can you quickly discuss West Ham defender preference? I have. Thank you. Good luck, Matthew. Lucas says, hi, James. Who would you prefer to have on your team if you play bench boost in 22? Sissoko or Martinelli? I need to transfer out one of them for Gray. I mean, you'd rather have Martinelli, wouldn't you? It's fairly straightforward. Rose Mendes says, hi James, Pogba to either Gray or Heung-min Son. I have Bowen already. Please help. Gray is better or Son? I just think in nearly all the cases, the advice is going to be the double game week player. But then, like, to be honest, 24 hours ago, I was sitting here with absolutely no doubt I was going to captain Heung-min Son this week. So, make of that what you will. Son has a great fixture, then highly likely a double. Everton, if they have a double in 22, is going to be Norwich and Newcastle, and that is part why I'm taking the -4 for Calvert-Lewin now as well, is to have that ready. Obviously for the double now. Generally on principle, I really don't like players who are returning from injury, but a player returning to injury who's a definite starter, in my opinion, has had a little bit of a break and he was going to start for Everton on Thursday night, is my understanding. So there's no reason to think he won't start tomorrow. And to be walking straight into a double, and that second double could be incredible. There's no guarantee Everton are going to get that, by the way. It's not straightforward. It's not straightforward. I think it probably lies in the answer of, like, look at game week 23. What do you want to do with Son then when he's got Chelsea away? Is that your cash cow back to Salah? Then that might help, right? I'd rather have Heung-min Son sitting in there, I think, personally. Like, it wouldn't cross my mind to move from Son to Gray. No way. So, and it's not crossed my mind to move Bernardo Silva to Gray, and I'd like to get rid of Bernardo Silva. So I think the answer is Heung-min Son, really. Pavan says, hey James, who to sell 1 for Antonio, King or Breuer? And is James to Dawson Keane for -4 good enough? Thanks. Yeah, I'm okay. My preference would have West Ham players over Everton, despite what I just said about the potential double. I don't know the injury status on Yerry Mina. I know he's not available this weekend, but by the time 22 comes around, if he's back available, that's potentially going to put pressure on Keane's place, and I'm a little bit concerned about that. It's a slight preference with Dawson. Yeah, I would take the -4. In terms of which one to sell, would not be selling either King or Dennis at this minute in time. It looks like Emmanuel Dennis is probably not going to go to Afcon, so it would be sell Breuer with the single fixture, although it's good against Brentford in 10 days' time. At the moment, Southampton are slightly less likely than likely to have a double in 22. Basically, either one of Southampton or Everton is probably going to play Newcastle. The more likely is Everton. It's possible that neither play Newcastle, it's worth saying as well. I think there might be a consciousness for the Premier League to try and get Burnley to catch up a few games with Newcastle, because they're obviously kind of competing with each other at the moment. So I think it's move on Breuer, mate. Hamish Holmes to Sky question, you making any transfers this week in response to the extra fixtures? Yes. I need to have a look at it. I think Bernardo Silva to Calvert-Lewin tomorrow would be on for me. And I need to have a proper assessment. Because it might be that I've been even Laporte or Cancelo as well. Possibly even like for Jota tomorrow. But Calvert-Lewin gives me the coverage for that Tuesday now in Sky, which I'm quite happy with. That's Calvert-Lewin tomorrow. If he's in the team, I think it's probably a definite for me. But nothing too drastic at this stage, I don't think. Pavanar says, also Happy New Year, everyone. And to you, Pav, and Sam Holden, will with the discourse around Afcon and clubs, I tend to agree mostly with the thought if it was Euro, there would be different tone coverage. I guess main caveat is happening during the season. It's exactly that, Sam. And I do agree, there is kind of a nasty undertone to... I mean, I do not agree with Emmanuel Dennis not going to the Afcon. Whatever, Nigeria may have fucked themselves here a little bit with the request, but like he should go. He should go and play for his country. Although there is some thought that he doesn't think he'll play regularly and he'd rather help Watford out. There is a possible line down that route which we might not be aware of. The reality is, that it's generally club managers, club fans and stuff. The thing is, it's an inconvenience. If you're a Liverpool fan, you're looking at Salah Mane going away for 3 weeks when you got a cup semi-final, a couple of Premier League games and an FA Cup match. You're thinking, I mean, they're going to play kids against Arsenal in the cup semi-final, I would think. They've got a few COVID issues in the squad. If you're a Liverpool fan, unfortunately, you probably would be looking at AFCON and going, this is a pain in the arse. And I do get that side of it. Of course, these players should go and play for their countries, no doubt about it. And the coverage of the tournaments on Sky, I intend to watch bits of it. Ryan says, hello, James. Mark Cucurella worth a punt or Luke Shaw? Straight choice between that. I mean, right now, I think favouritism would be with Cucurella. Carl McGrath, hi, James. Happy New Year. Should I do Watkins to Antonio or DCL for -4? Preference is with old Big Fives Antonio. Eshan says, is the Liverpool game going to go ahead? I think so, yes, but I'm not not a COVID tester at Liverpool, so I don't factually know. Andrew Jarvis, good morning, James. Happy New Year. 3 West Ham and 1 Everton. Would you transfer Liver out for Keane or Gallagher out for Gray for -4 or hold? My current Everton asset is Corey. I wouldn't want to go mad with it. I mean, just think of it like this, Andrew. If you've got West Ham won't double in 22, there's no guarantee that Everton will. So if you're stuck in that position, what you're doing, you're definitely using the free hit. And if that's part of your plan, that's reasonable. It's worth saying as well, look, Everton have good longer term fixtures beyond 22. And of course, they do have a good single fixture against Norwich in that week as well. So, I mean, the information with Gallagher's been really sketchy. I'm just looking at principle going, he played on Sunday. He got COVID. How can he play today? But I've seen some people circulating pictures of Gallagher supposedly in Harrods on Thursday and stuff. It's all a bit weird. There's no guarantee that's not like an old picture. There's no guarantee it's in Harrods. Can't say I know the place that well. But I think there'd be a temptation to do it, actually, Andrew. FPL telling Josh, Happy New Year, James. Hope you and the family have a great 2022. Right back at you, mate. Jonathan says, hi, James. Thoughts on Lamptey as an option, or is there another 4.5 defender you would prefer? Thanks, mate. Happy New Year. At this moment in time, it's a Diop as like a bench option. Second, third sub. We'll deal with the problem in a few weeks. Lamptey, when he's got a double game week, which he's likely to have in 22, though again, even though they've got 3 games to rearrange, that's not a guarantee. Does he play twice over those periods? So, yeah, I'd like to say Duffy to you, but there's no guarantee he's going to get back in the team. So I think Diop is the answer at the moment. Eshan says, trying to bench boost next week with that in mind. Who should I remove for Gray, Gallagher or Bernardo? Palace could play Watford, but again, no guarantee. No guarantee, but I mean, Bernardo is not going to have a double game week unless something unbelievable basically happens today with the Arsenal fixture. But there's no guarantee it'd get rearranged for in there anyway. West MA says, Happy New Year, James. Thinking of a -4 for James and Saka out for Bowen and Keane. We shall take Foden out instead of Saka because of COVID rumours. What do you think of these moves? I'd rather take Foden out at this minute. Because if you look at 22, Arsenal probably double. We think probably Tottenham away, Wolves at home. City, as just said, no double. You can always go back. You're bound to have double game week players that you don't want. You can always go back to Foden from there, but bear in mind, of course, that for many of us, most Salah in is going to be the transfer for game week 24. So you might block yourself out of the return. So just have a look longer term and see what you think, mate. Western May says, Happy New Year, James. Thinking of, that's what I just did. Sorry, Dynamite Don says, Happy New Year, James. Looking at Diaz versus West Ham defender. Yeah, the West Ham defender right now. I think Arsenal might get something against City today. Then it's Chelsea. You can come back for Ruben Diaz if that's what you want. Take advantage, live a little. Double game week, people, live a little. Andrew Grondin, James, happy flipping new year. No question, mate. This game week have high X fun for you. I hope so, mate. By the way, no Q&A section at the end of this stream today because I got to get to Watford. My tickets, for those who heard me say earlier in the week, no ticket. They arrived yesterday lunchtime. Lauren Harris says, hey James, happy new year. Which would you prefer? Rudiger to Soufal, Emil Smith Rowe to Gray. Rudiger to Soufal, Emil Smith Rowe to Gray, or Edward King to DCL? Would you do a -4, -8 for 2 or 3? Edwards DCL would be the preference on that. Yeah, he probably plays today. No guarantee of a double. Liverpool the week after as well. So Edward to DCL, yes. Smith Rowe to Gray. Bench Smith Rowe in that fixture today, can't you? Rudiger to Soufal, reasonable. Smith Rowe to Gray is the one I like the least, which feels mad when Smith Rowe's not even been starting, and I don't think it'll start today either. We'll already explore. Happy New Year, James. What teams appeal the most? It stands for big game week 22. Really depends. So Liverpool, I think are 50-50 for a double. Now, if Liverpool have got Brentford at home and Leeds at home, then we might all be steaming into Andy Robertson as a third Liverpool player, possibly, for example. But arguably, if it happens, Everton. Norwich away and Newcastle at home, if it happens, fucking hell. That's absolutely blinding. I have to say, the potential doubles don't massively scream wow. I mean, Watford could be another one. I think Newcastle away and Palace at home as a double, if it happens, before then Norwich at home in 23 would be nice. Would be really nice. There is an unlikely scenario, and it's not on the table at the moment. I'd be very, very surprised. But in theory, Wolves could play Watford. I think that's a really, 5% chance. That would give Wolves possibly a really interesting double of Southampton at home and Watford at home. I really don't think that's going to happen. Permutation-wise, I mean, United as well, decent. Villa away and Brentford away, or Villa away and Brighton at home, it's okay, it's reasonable, but it doesn't scream get me. Tottenham's most likely double is Arsenal at home, Leicester away, it's the same thing. Doesn't scream get me. Same with Arsenal, probably Tottenham away, Wolves at home is the most likely scenario, I think. Doesn't scream get me. I don't think they're going to be that great, actually. And there are some teams who could have singles who will have some unbelievable 22 fixtures. Like if Everton don't have a double, Norwich away. If Liverpool don't have a double, Brentford at home. If West Ham aren't going to double, Leeds at home. It's decent. So, I mean, it's interesting. I could land, if I was discussing this with some advanced tier patrons of mine last night, I was saying, like, if Everton don't have a double, West Ham haven't got a double, and Liverpool haven't got a double, like, they're single game week fixture, Norwich away, Brentford at home, and Leeds at home. I don't know if I want to free hit them out. I might genuinely go into 22 with, 6 or 7 players who've got a single game week. It's possible. Sage says, Soufal in for James and Gray in for Smith Rowe for a hit. Is it a good idea? Happy New Year and thanks for the content, mate. I think that you've got a player who's not going to play. One I'm suggesting is not going to start. It's unlikely to start. I think, yeah, make the move. Static says, hi James, would you move Bilver, James and Breuer to Cash, Gray and one of Antonio or DCL? If so, which out of Antonio, DCL? Preference with Antonio, mate. Would Soufal be a better shout than Cash? Matty Cash was jumping right towards the top of my list. I reflected on the podcast yesterday. I said straight afterwards, I was like, oh my God, we didn't speak about Villa. And Matty Cash was right in my thoughts to potentially be buying yesterday morning. But I think now, go with the immediate doubler in the first instance. Villa, if they have a double, is likely to be United at home, Leeds away, is the most likely. Fancy clean sheets in there? I'm not sure. So I think go with what you can see in front of your face in the first instance. Alistair says, hi guys, the one and only Smith. Who would be 5 essential players on a wild card this week, Chief? There's no essential players, mate. There's been an essential player for the last 8-10 game weeks or so. We are back to there is no essential player in this game as far as I'm concerned. If you want me to kind of list players, take the top 5 from the captaincy picks. There you go. Adash says, happy New Year, mate. Saka or Foden out for Bowen. I've had this one. I said Foden out a little earlier. Also Soufal for James, fine. We have to take -4 for both transfers. They're fine, Adash, honestly. Toast, happy New Year, James. Alonso and Foden out for Dawson and Gray -8. Not so happy about that. -4 each. I mean, Alonso could outscore Dawson, right? Remember, Alonso still be on the odd free kick and whatnot, right? He's almost certain to play. Not so sure on that one, to be honest. Not loving it. Not loving it. I mean, isolation each -4 is okay, but just literally just break that. -4 Dawson over Alonso. Is it worth it? Like I said, probably no. It's borderline. Really borderline, I think. Gray in for Foden should pay the -4. If the information of Foden is correct, which I've had nothing given to me, so it's only reliant obviously on what others are saying. But Luke wouldn't put that shit on Twitter if he wasn't completely confident in its truth. And I see anyone gunning for Luke if it's not true, I'll be gunning for you as well. FPL Invincible says, hi James, I completely lost with my transfers. Do you think it's worth selling Salah for Son? Not sure what to do with Foden and Bernardo. Salah might be under 100% effective ownership, mate. Good little differential this week now. No, I wouldn't move Salah to Son, I don't think, no. David Hannigan currently on -4, thinking of James Dawson and bench Alonso. Do you think it's worth it over just playing Alonso? Same as kind of what I'd said with the previous one. I was really borderline and close, that one. Really, really close. I think as well, I'm concerned about the value of Dawson and what do you do with it longer term. I need to think about making my fucking transfers myself, don't I? Before I completely forget. We're about 26 minutes to deadline, I think, guys. I mean, I would have a tab open. I doubt we're going to get any information before deadline that's going to change anything in any way, to be honest. I'd be thinking of getting your transfers ready to lock in. Rishi says, forgot to say Happy New Year, James. Thanks for the content. You're very welcome. Switchbone. Hello, James. I feel Bowen versus Antonio will be similar to Mane versus Salah, triple captain. Back then we will hear about until the next game, so I need to nail it down which one. I've decided to go Bowen. And I did have second thoughts about it, but literally when the double game week was announced, and bearing in mind I've already got Bowen and Antonio, my instinct straight away was I'm captaining Jared Bowen. And it was only after an hour or two I thought, Antonio's ownership's going to be off the chart. Are you sure you want to do that, James? You might need to captain Antonio. But no, I'm going to stick with what my instinct was to go with Jared Bowen. Tommy and P said, morning James, happy 2022. Torn between a free hit of -8 of Foden, Gallagher and King to Gray, Bowen and Antonio. I don't mind that, but I'm really not keen on the binning of King or Dennis right now. I'm really not keen on it, but I mean, look, straight in front of your face. Antonio's second fixture, Norwich, if he makes it that far. Because there's always a doubt with Mickey, isn't there? I have to say yes. Looks a goer to me. Warnock says, who is the best West Ham defender? Unfortunately, mate, it's Aaron Cresswell, but he's not available. I think it's down to preference. It's not straightforward. There's nothing in it, really, statistically, to get you excited about any of them. The best is probably Soufal, but he has an element of risk around him. Therefore, Dawson over Diop, yes, but is he worth the 0.6 more? I'm not convinced. Especially as I'm looking at the move as real short term. So it depends what you're looking for. Longer term, short term. Do you want a regular starter? It's not a straightforward, yes, this one's best. What you could always do is you could just DM Suj and annoy him. Because I know he's had about 100 DMs in the last 24 hours. Yeah, welcome to my world, Suj. Atul Balaji says, Happy New Year, James. I'm doing Gallagher to Bowen this week. Would you recommend I do Reece James to Soufal from -4 or leave it and get someone else with a double next week? Any faith in West Ham clean sheet? I have faith in a West Ham clean sheet because the second fixture's Norwich. I have less faith that Soufal will actually start. But yeah, I would make that transfer, mate. I would definitely make that transfer. Vivek Gore says, hi mate, worth bringing in Gray for a hit considering the Everton fixture don't look good for attacking returns. Yeah, the Everton double is a bit of a blind spot this week in the sense that I think Brighton will beat them tomorrow, personally. And I'm not convinced that they'll beat Leicester either. So, I'm predicting 2 goals for Everton over the 2 games. I don't feel with much excitement, but then, okay, let's say you miss. You walk into at least one good fixture on the other side and possibly the best double of all if the Newcastle game gets arranged in there. So, I think, yeah, there's still a reasonable case to go with it. Sheila says, is Martinelli to Gray -12? To bench Foden if he is confirmed not in the squad or let Martinelli sub on. So, I mean, it's not -12, is it? You've already made a -8. Forget the previous decisions. Just break it down to one decision now, because you've already made the other transfers. Gray in for Martinelli, -4, worth it. I think it's borderline. I don't think that's a certainty, even with Martinelli playing City. I don't think that's a certainty at all. I think just about yes. But I think having already made a -8, I think personally I would bottle that. FTLOL podcast says, morning James, is Foden, Gallagher and Keenan Davis, Antonio, Captain, Bowen and Dewsbury Hall worth a -4 if I have the exact money for it. So what you're essentially saying there is you're taking a -4 for Dewsbury Hall, who doesn't have a fixture, over Keenan Davis, who almost certainly won't play for Villa either. Yeah, I think it is, though. Break it down. Foden and Gallagher out for Antonio, Captain and Bowen in. Yeah, it's worth it, mate. Rose Mendes says, Lacazette to Tony and Breuer to Richarlison. Someone's finally mentioned Tony. Yep, I don't mind that. That's absolutely fine. Tony's likely to have a double, in my opinion, as well, but it would be Liverpool and Manchester United as that double in 22. There was a question I'd seen somewhere, which I can't remember answering, actually. Someone said about the prospect of who's going to double. I mean, Brentford is just as likely as Everton to double, but it's shit second double. Breuer to Richarlison, I don't think it's available, Rose, as far as I'm aware. Alan Holohan, morning James, Dawson, or have a check at Ben Dinnery's timeline. I'm sure he tweeted last night that it was not available. Thank you, Rob Pick. Really appreciate that, mate. That's not handy that I've lost it. But the Football Intelligence Unit is very reliable. As basically said, don't pick Zinchenko today and don't pick Foden. Thanks very much as well, Joe Amrabat. I really appreciate that, guys. So those looks almost certain that Phil Foden is not available for Man City, which means my mate Luke's nailed it, and I can't say I'm surprised. Alan Holohan, morning James, Dawson or Keane in for James, undecided on chip strategy for 22, which probably doesn't help. Then deal with the immediate, and I think the immediate better is the West Ham player, mate. Mario B, hey James, thoughts from Gallagher, Douglas Luiz and Reece James to Bowen, Gray and Cash for a -8. Why Cash? Why not the West Ham player right now? That's all. Cash, if you want Cash long term, fine. Peter G, high scale Sky question, would you bring in Antonio, Bowen or Calvert-Lewin for Reece James? Bowen, because of the midfield placement in that particular game. Bowen would be the preference, mate. Francesco Faloppi says, Happy New Year, James. Reece James, Lacquer to Region and DCL. What do you think? Thanks. Reggie. Thing with Reggie, and I've explained this on the pod yesterday, no guarantee he plays twice in any double, because the amount of work that the wing backs have to get through at Tottenham is unbelievable. So bear that in mind. I mean, if they're 2 free transfers, then absolutely I can't really argue it, but I would rather you got a player who's doubling now. Joey B93G, Happy New Year, mate. DCL or Gray? Heart says DCL, brain thinking Gray. If your brain's thinking Gray, then I'm going to say to you, go with your brain, mate. But if you're asking me, I'm going to say DCL. West MA, hi James, Captain Antonio, Bowen. Preference is on the screen, mate. Alright, I think at this stage it's probably about right I get my transfers in. For those who've got questions in the chat, if you haven't asked yet, there's a good chance I'm not going to get to you, unfortunately, and there's probably a good chance those have submitted questions I'm probably not going to get to as well. Bear with me, please, while I make transfers. So, Reece James out. I see nearly no one ask about Diop as well. I'm going Issa Diop, and I'm going to move Armando Breuer for Dominic Calvert-Lewin for the -4. That leaves me 6.1 in the bank. I don't really know where I want to fucking spend it at the moment. -4, make transfers, James to Diop, Breuer to Calvert-Lewin, 4 points, confirmed transfers, -4. And there we go, guys. That is me now locked in. So that will be, who's my goalie? De Gea, Trent, Diop's double, Cancelo, Bowen, Captain, Jota, Bernardo Silva, Heung-min Son, Antonio, Vice Captain, Dominic Calvert-Lewin, and Josh King. Dallo, Ramsey, Tierney, the bench order. That's me locked in. JFPL had James best long-term defenders for 4.4 million and below. I mean, Diop, I certainly don't have thoughts in long-term. I mean, what's long-term? Matt Lowton's got terrible 6-7 fixtures, almost certain to have a double in 22. But if you're looking like long-term towards sort of game week 34, 35, I'm going to say, yeah, like Matt Lowton's reasonable enough, really. Failing that, I think Diop's a really short-term option. Not keen. Not keen. There aren't any great options there at the moment, but something will develop with the transfer window and stuff, I'm sure. But nah, it's not thrilling at the moment, I must say. FPL Red, in your opinion, is it better to free hit in a week like this one with a few doubles, or in a week where every team doubles? Circumstantial. There isn't a right answer to that. Like I've just said, I might genuinely, through choice, not free hit next week and have 6 or 7 players who've got a single game week, in spite of the fact it could be the biggest double game week of the year, because the single game week fixtures could be incredible. It depends completely on how those fixtures land. So it's circumstantial. Completely circumstantial. I'd look at this week and go, do you want treble West Ham, treble Everton, treble Brentford? Nah, that doesn't feel right. Not when the other fixtures aren't brilliant as well. So I mean, you probably go and cut the Tottenham, maybe a United player. You'd probably avoid Chelsea, Liverpool. You'd arguably avoid Man City as well, which means you also, of course, you'd be avoiding Arsenal one free hit as well because they're playing City. So I mean, how great would that look? Let's be honest, right? A free hit team with treble West Ham, treble Everton, treble Brentford, and a couple of Spurs players could completely fall on its fucking arse. Thank you, Alan Holohan, as well, who said Sam Lee, who's the Man City correspondent for The Athletic, has also basically kind of confirmed that Foden is probably out as well. Brett W, Evening James, wants to move out Bernardo Silva, best option of Gray, Decore, Lanzini or Benrahma. Not Benrahma, mate, scan at Afcon, so that's an absolute no. I think it's probably Gray from that list. Rose Mendes says, which Everton defender is better? Godfrey, Holgate, Coleman. As a second Everton defender in my team as a differential, I have Michael Keane already. Brave strategy. From that, it'd be Godfrey. Holgate, in no way assured of his place, and I'd be concerned about, obviously, John Joe Kenny actually played at Chelsea in Everton's last fixture. I feel like that was their last fixture. So it'd have to be Godfrey from that. Not that he's 100% certainty either if Mina comes back, but Godfrey will play left back at the moment, although there is some speculation that Luca Dean might be back in the squad this week. Do not even think about Luca Dean. Honestly, you can't. So Godfrey from that, Rose. Josh says, hi James, stuck between Son and Keane and Davis, which allows me to keep Foden, or go in DCL over Son, but I have to keep Bernardo over Foden. Yeah, at the moment you probably do want to keep Bernardo over Foden, is how it looks, mate. Dion Chung says, hi James, would you start Watford attacker or Spurs defender? Watford attacker, and no doubt on that, actually, as long as that's King or Dennis. Yeah, I'll play King or Dennis over Region this week, definitely. Yeah, they're on form, them front players. They're decent going forward. Andy Max says, hi James, happy new year. Would you swap Jesus to DCL for a hit? Yeah. Unlikely Jesus will feature this week, and DCL has double game week. I'm not convinced that Jesus won't feature, by the way. Pays for itself, surely. Cheers, mate. I mean, yeah, Jesus for me is just not an FPL option. I'm not sure it ever will be again. Mufasa says, hey, New Year, happy New Year, James. Which defender under 4.5 to replace James? This spot will be 5th defender moving forward with the excess funds to move Smith Rowe to Barron. Cheers. As I said, right now, those sub 4.5 million options are not good at all. They really are not great. Do not inspire. You could look at the Brentford backline, but I think you're just doing it because of the double and stuff. Nah, it doesn't inspire anything particularly. Most people are not going to have a Brentford defensive asset this week, right? So it's not something you have to do. The Everton ones under that value, if there are any, like Kenny and stuff, no. It's Diop. It's Diop at this minute in time. Avis says, hi James, is Everton the only team with a max probability to have a double in game with 21 and 22? No, Brentford. Brentford just as likely, I think, in my opinion. Keza FPL says, morning James, happy new year. Would you get rid of James for Lamptey and would you play Cancelo? Yeah, don't leave Cancelo out. Although I might do it against Chelsea if I end up doing nothing next week. Again, it depends how it falls. But generally speaking, Cancelo is not a player you bench. Tom Dart says, hi James, do you think I should do Breuer and James to Johnson and Antonio for -4? Should also do Smith Rowe to Gray for -8. Yeah, fuck it, Tom, live a little. Good morning to Alistair Hargreaves, FPL Cobbler, happy new year mate, and to you too my friend. Giannis Janopoulos says, happy new year mate. May everything come to you in abundance. STH like the endless content you prepare to us weekly. Best wishes to you, Suj, and your listeners. Regards, Giannis. Thanks so much, my friend. Have a great new year, mate. Paul Willis says, hi Jameson. Twitter rumours Chelsea want the Liverpool game called off. Any info? No. Don't deal with Twitter rumours unless someone gives me something that's concrete, and my patrons will do that if there is anything concrete and they've not said anything to me. It doesn't mean it can't be off. Listen, any game could get postponed. Praise says, happy new year James. Who to start, Livramento or Dennis? Dennis. Thanks for an amazing year. Also, is Antonio a necessity? You might have to take out Ronaldo for him. No necessities, mate. In day look, is West Ham players. If you're West Ham players essential, nah. Oh no, lost my place in the chat now. Oh, I'm definitely getting that nowhere near like 80% of your questions. Sorry guys. Happy New Year everyone, says Carl. Francisco says, sorry, James and Lacquer to Region on DCL -4. Yeah, it's okay. Mohammed Ali, Lord Linden, first sub, Cancelo, Jota, or Emerson Royal. Oh my God. I have Foden, who I'll start. Yeah, but Foden's not starting, mate. Jota, Cancelo, Emerson, that order. FPL Sponge, West Ham defender. I've gone Diop. Antonio worth a -4. Yes. C says Foden, some worth it -4. Will free hit in 22. I should have prioritised doublers in 21. Nah, look at it on. It looks like Foden's out. Son's got great fixture. One game week though, and then Son's got Chelsea away in 23. If a free hit in 22. No, I'm gonna say no. Guard at 25 says, morning James, happy new year, all the best. Thoughts on Sarr to Pickford and James to Soufal, or Sarr to Fabianski and James to Emerson Lamptey, or Josh James to Soufal? Jack, man, can you put less words in your questions and roll the other free transfer for next week? No, make transfer, get double game week players in. Pickford could be good. If Sarr's your only goalkeeper, like if you got Sarr and Backman or something like that, basically, then I'm more than happy if you'd go and get Pickford. And I think I'd prefer that over Fabianski at the moment. James to Emerson Lamptey. I'm mayor on that at the moment. Probably Lamptey from the two. James to Soufal I prefer. Marcus White, morning James. Nice one for wicked content last year. Looks like I'm benching Jota. Wish me luck. Good luck, mate. McGrouch86, how come Ben Rama isn't getting as much traction for ads as Bowen or Antonio? Still seems a decent pick-up in my opinion, because he's going to the African nations. Nor Asikin says, is it worth a -4 for King to Antonio? Yes, but as I've said numerous times, I'm really not keen on getting rid of these Watford forwards. Eric Solly says, hello good sir, what about Watkins and Ramsdale for DCL and Pickford? Well yeah, it will cost -8. Nah, I mean Ramsdale could haul against Man. If Arsenal have a good day against City, Ramsdale could haul from nowhere, right? DCL for Watkins, reasonable, it's okay. Brentford away for Watkins, good fixture on it. Eric Solly, that's what I've just done. Dan C, morning all, happy new year, happy new team, wildcard, bosh, good luck Dan. Avis says, happy new year James, to every one of the regular live stream people. James, looking great in the salt and pepper style. Don't forget to give your first like in 2022 for this stream, guys. Yeah, much appreciated, Avis. Remember to smash a like, guys. It is 10 minutes to deadline, by the way. At this point, I'd be making transfers. I wouldn't be asking me questions. I'd be making transfers and getting your team locked in. Hamad Hamid says, will Chelsea Liverpool off due to COVID? Heard 3 new cases at Chelsea, thanks. I don't have this information. FPL Planner, happy new year James. I have Antonio and King. Should I bring in Tony for Breuer for a hit? Tony for Breuer for a hit? No. I don't think Brentford have scored. I predicted Brentford not to score in this double. FPL Planner, Happy New Year, James. I have Antonio. That's what I've just done. Shahid says, morning, James. Happy New Year, mate. Are you hearing anything about Chelsea Liverpool being called off, please? No, not at the moment. Will Jones says, hi, James. Thoughts on James and Tomiyasu to Dawson and Keane -4. Don't hate it. Dia says, who can I sold Gallagher or Smith Rowe for -4 and get Gray? I don't know if Gallagher's going to play. That's thrown me some of the stuff I've seen on Twitter. Yes, surely Gallagher can't play. I don't think Smith Rowe plays either. I think you'll be happier to land in 22 with Gallagher in your team than Smith Rowe. That's my opinion. FPL Hitman says, play Johnson, Reggie or Dennis. You play the doubler, mate. Happy New Year, mate. Cheers. And Dennis over Reggie. Florian Meister, hi, James. Would you prioritise selling Gundogan or Bernardo? Gundogan, slightly. Yes, I still have both. All the best for you and the family 2020. Stay well, keep up the energy. Will do, mate. Will Jones, also know you are not Pep, but do you reckon Bernardo Silva start? Yes. And I appreciate that you said you know I'm not Pep. Barry P says, how many hits would you take for doubles this week? -8 maximum for me. Unfortunately, went early with the James to Royal. Only got Antonio with a double. -8 or -12 on the cards for Bowen Gray. Bowen be the priority, mate. -8's fine. You learn a very quick lesson about this chat, mate. Once in the chat is enough, mate. Sorry, I can't read your name because it's in different language. Hi, James. Son spotted at the beginning of training but not seen during drill. Any worries? I've not heard anything, mate. Doesn't mean it's not true, but I've not heard anything. Daniel Williamson, triple captain Bowen. I think there'll be better opportunity. Just on that, triple captaincy. My view on triple captaincy right now is no use on it, is my opinion, till I know where the Liverpool Leeds fixture is going. Because Liverpool Leeds could go in game week 26, and that would give Liverpool a double game week of Norwich at home and Leeds at home. And if that's the case, and Mo Salah's fit and healthy and well, then Mo Salah's effective ownership will be over 200%, to the extent that the only way to get a gain out of him will be to triple captain him. So until I know where that Liverpool Leeds fixture's going, no triple captaincy for me. William Sameri says, would you do Antonio for King, Soufal and Pickford in for -8? We already have Bowen, and to get rid of Ramsdale, I have Dennis as well. I mean, yeah, if you want to hit it for the doubles now, he's fine, right? But for the goalkeeper, I'm not keen on that so much. I'm not keen on moving Dennis, but I agree you do want Antonio now. Are there alternatives you can consider, William? No time Q8. Bernardo, Morpay, James out, Antonio Gray, Region in for -8. Seems reasonable, mate. Although I think Morpay, I'm going to say it, I think Morpay might have a good 5 or 6 game weeks, actually. It's possible. He's on the outside of my eye for the first time properly, actually. Lewis Cole says, hi, James. Worth a hit for King to DCL. It's so borderline. I'm going to say just about yes, but it's really borderline. Ludwig says, morning, James. Thoughts on Tony and James to DCL and Soufal for a hit? And who are your best James replacements? I mean, I wouldn't get rid of Tony now. He's got a double. You've gone all this time with him, and now you're getting rid of him. Now he's got a double. So I can't. Even though I don't think they'll do great in this, I will not be moving him on if I had. Heidi said, just wanted to wish you a happy new year, James. Thanks, my friend. Have a good one. Meninda says, is an Everton defender like Keane better than a West Ham defender who might not want to free hit next week? Yeah, but then if you're not bench boosting either, you can bench this player, right? And I mean, the benching headaches next week is probably going to be pretty brutal. We are talking about the possibility, depending on how the fixtures land, of people leaving players like Cancelo on the bench. So, I mean, if I imagine Diop's going to be my third sub next week, even though he's got Leeds at home. So, it depends how you're intending to play it. It's Raw 12G. What is the situation on phone, and has he got COVID? It sounds like it, is all I can say. It sounds like it. Kieran Keynes, I've got Antonio, don't laugh, but I've also got Ings. Should I go DCL from -4? Tempted to leave for Brentford. Cheers. I can understand why you're tempted to leave it for Brentford, yeah. Get that. So again, it's another borderline one. It's close. I fuck it, do it. Double, mate. Ali says, hello, James. Would you get Sufal, Johnson, Dawson or Keane? Cheers, mate. From that, I think I'd have been Sufal. Chris Shenju says, what is the phone situation we've covered? Warnock says, worth selling King to DCL or Tony. Not to Tony, DCL. I mean, if it's for free, I think, yeah. Just be conscious, you may well want to reverse that next week. Prey says, should I get Masuaku out for Sufal since he's been on the bench recently? You got Masuaku, nice one. I know that Suj would say yes. So I'm just going to leave it at that. Abdullah Khan says, Sufal or Johnson or Diop for West Ham defence. I've bought Diop, mate. KF19. Oh, do you know what? I should probably send Cap a screenshot of that, but I don't suppose it's probably a bit late in the day now. Abdullah says, Sufal or Johnson or Diop. That's what I've just done. KF16, Happy New Year, James. Hope you're well. I had planned to bin James off for Cucurella. I like their upcoming fixtures. However, now the doubles are announced, would you triple up on West Ham instead? It's what I've done, mate. It's done. It's in the bin. I've made that decision. I've got Diop in. Chris says, does Bowen have COVID too? Might do. Who knows, mate? And that's why, by the way, we've been recommending against this all the time, but that is why I've got Antonio captain and Bowen vice. He's on the extreme off chance that one had COVID, the other didn't. That's it. That's why I've got, and we've not been recommending it, but what's the chances of both West Ham games being postponed? So in this case, I think it's far more acceptable to do that, should you want to do that. That's obviously, as I said, what I've decided to do. George says, quick one, Cash or Diaz? Cash at this moment in time. Joe Morin says, Happy New Year, James. Brownhill to Gray for free and start Livramento. Have Antonio Bono take -4 and bring in Gray and bring in Janssen or West Ham defender. Not keen on the Janssen move. I'm just not for that on the Brentford guys. I think you're trying to force, again, that's affordable. We discussed that kind of 4.5s and under. Who's of interest? No one really. I'd start Tino, mate, I think. Big X says, what about Johnson? Even cheaper than Diop. Yeah, but a little bit more of a risk. In terms of Masuaku and stuff. Remember, West Ham do play Leeds in the FA Cup 3 days before they play Norwich. And David Moyes generally takes the Cups quite seriously. So that's my concern with the fullbacks. That's what it boils down to. Joella says, best West Ham defender. I've gone Diop. I've gone cheap out on it. It's Raw 12G. Another question, who'd start, Smith Rowe or Trossard? I mean, you'd go Trossard, wouldn't you? Although he is a doubt. I wouldn't be surprised if neither starts. Amos says, Gray is down as injured on Premier injuries. Well, Mr. Dinnery's in the know better than I am. But I've not heard that he's out. My understanding is that he's probably available, and it's only my understanding. Charles John, get KDB for Foden. Bowen, and we ain't got Bowen. We'll be looking at midfielder. I mean, if you're sitting there with Bowen, Gray and stuff already, great. But KDB's not going to have a double 22 either. It's a difficult fixture against Chelsea. I'd look elsewhere, mate. Pete Hades says, hi James, Happy New Year's. Livramento fit to play today, and do you think Benrahma is a shout instead of a West Ham defender as a third player? No, Benrahma going to Afcon. Livramento obviously doesn't play for 10 days, so it's completely unpredictable. But if he's fit, he'll start. If he's not fit, then he won't be in the squad, and you've got your bench player. Bikesh says, is Foden starting? It looks like that's going to be a no. Deadline has struck, guys. I wish you all the very best of luck. Many apologies to those I've not managed to get through to questions. I can see your people at the end. I wish when people come in this chat to read the pin message first. They'd understand how this stuff works. I'm going to leave it there for now, guys, because I'm travelling to Watford to watch Tottenham this afternoon. So I'm going to spend a little bit of time with my son before I go. Sorry, that's my priority. Monday, we'll be reviewing the weekend action from Gameweek 21, and we're going to look a little bit on the main podcast in terms of permutation of what 22 may look like, because there are spin-offs from 21 in terms of what may happen in 22, particularly surrounding around the Southampton-Brentford arrangement. Has made me very suspicious about a potential falling dominoes of what 22 may look like, but there's a couple of alternative ways that it could happen. We'll discuss that on the pod, as well as obviously reviewing all the games. People's Poll Tuesday, I don't know about topic yet. Sky Fantasy Football Wednesday. Thursday's Clash of Correspondence will be Burnley versus Leicester with Turfy Topper and Aaron Lager. Friday will be... There's no deadline, so Ask James stream on Friday. I genuinely don't know what our Patreon content will be this week, but the podcast will be from intermediate tier and above. Q&A Monday. Tuesday, I don't know yet. Wednesday, Tottenham. Thursday will be a quiz. Friday will be, I don't know yet, because there's no Premier League next weekend, but there will be podcasts on Tuesday and Friday. I've just not had time to think about the schedule as yet, and actually don't even intend to think about it till tomorrow. But we'll post the full schedule on Twitter tomorrow evening once it's decided. If you obviously want to support our content, www.patreon.com/planetfpl. It's the start of a new month. It's a new year. If you want to join the Slack community, £3 a month. You want to buy me and Suja coffee a month, come and join us. The podcast's available from intermediate tier, and there's additional video content each midweek day for the advanced tier patrons as well. Other than that, sorry to cut it a little bit short today, but I've got to go and support my team. Happy New Year to all of you guys. Very best of luck for the double game week. Ciao for now.